Yes. Oh my God. So many women are starting to heal their witch wound, and that makes me so fucking happy. So happy. I don't think I'm supposed to say fuck within the first 20 seconds of my video, but we're doing that. It makes me so happy. But I also want to make this video to let you know that it does not need to be healed. In fact, the wound that you keep trying to fix is the exact portal that's going to take you to your next level of power and success. So stick with me because today I'm going to be showing you why trying to fix yourself is the thing that's actually holding you back. So welcome back. I'm Astrid, and on this channel, we meet in the intersection of energy and strategy so that witches like you can use your power to blow up in your business in the best of ways. Okay. So I 100% get what this process is like. I actually created a workbook and a course called Heal Your Witch Wound in Business until I had a revelation about using this as a portal of power. And I get what it feels like to be working on your witch wound and to be working on any of your wounds in general. I have been there. There's this constant feeling of being too much and not enough at the same time. The fear of being seen and the fear of being powerful, because deep down you are terrified that you're going to be burnt at the stake. Maybe literally, maybe metaphorically. There's lots of doxing that happens nowadays, lots of like canceling, which is I hear my dog, my puppy crying. I'm gonna go get her. I got them. I got them. Okay. This is Paisley, and this is Gizmo the Galaxy Destroyer. Oh, and I love whenever she puts her little hands on my face. It's so cute. Anyways, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's like the equivalent of a witch hunt, a modern day witch hunt, right? So if you have been telling yourself that the answer is to heal that fear, to clean up all the messy emotions, and then finally you'll feel worthy enough to show up, it is actually keeping you small. Okay. So I want to dive into I have notes. I have notes. I want to dive into some of the ways that people go about healing the witch wound. And I want to show you why it's actually keeping you stuck. I want to show you, not tell you. Okay. You're going to actually, let's turn it into a little game. However many of these, there's eight, however many you go, oh, yeah, that's me, that's me, that's me. No fucking shame. Honey, it is fine. We all do it. I want you to count how many of these you're doing and leave it in the comments for me. And I'll also give you another instruction so that it's not just, oh, I'm doing this and like adding shame or guilt or whatever kinds of emotions might come up. Actually use it as a moment of liberation. In this video, you will see how it is actually a portal of power that you get to walk through so that you can know yourself more, so that you can feel yourself more. Okay. So, number one, the way that we typically will heal our witch wound is shadow work overload. I love shadow work. Okay. Queen of shadow work. We love it. If you go back to my old videos, lots of fucking shadow work. There's plenty of me actually being in the shadows and working my way out of it. Okay. Which the shadows are also a portal of power. Um, Maybe a different video, but this is similar. The witch wound is all about doing shadow work. So, you know, if you are journaling a lot, of like endlessly journaling about your fears, about shame, about your perceived flaws, and going into every shadow that you possibly can to uncover your witch wound or to heal it, then even though the shadow work is valuable, it becomes like a rabbit hole of over identifying with what you no longer want to be. And that is why it keeps you stuck in that loop. You're relating to this version of self that is afraid to show up, over relating to this version of self who has a fear that something is going to happen. And so when you stay in that, you end up swimming in shame. You end up swimming in unforgiveness, resentment. I guess that would be the other word besides like unforgiveness would be resentment. And so instead of using it as a catalyst for power, so something like you recognize that you are wanting to make YouTube videos, for instance, but you're finding every way to avoid actually making the YouTube videos. Maybe you find yourself scrubbing the fucking toilet to avoid making your videos or to avoid creating content because you have this desire to show up more. Well, if you are able to catch yourself in the act, of doing a thing that you like know you don't want to be doing and you go, oh, that's my witch wound, that's a fucking portal of power, I'm making a video right now. That is how you would use that instead of sitting there and like journaling it out and here's what I feel and all of this. In my work that I do with clients, we don't sit in this shit, okay? I will leave in the description different ways that you can come into my world, but we shift this. It's all about alchemy. It's not sitting in the shadow, it's not swimming in the shame, okay? It's about alchemy, which is turning lead into gold, turning shit into gold, taking something that's gross and ugly and turning it into a fucking masterpiece. Okay. So the second way that people try to heal the witch wound is through clearing rituals. And I'm a fan of cleansing. Like smoke cleansing or doing cleansing rituals or goddess baths and things like that. I tend to lean towards doing those things now as an act of empowerment and just like claiming my space rather than like getting rid of oppressive forces. Not to say that that isn't necessary sometimes. Sometimes it is, right? And especially if you're more new to the game, then yeah, there's probably going to be some clearings going on, right? For the purpose of clearing things out that have slipped in. As you do it more and you do more as an act of empowerment, your space becomes impenetrable. But that's not what I'm talking about, okay? So the clearing rituals to rid yourself of the witch wound, spells, energy clearings, cord cuttings, banishing to release the witch wound or the trauma of being seen, okay? And this is not something that you want to banish because it is a part of your journey, and treating it like an external entity is only going that needs to be removed is only going to reinforce it, and it can turn it into some kind of egregore that you've actually created this entity outside of you that does oppress you, and we do not want to do that. Okay, it's not a problem, it's not something bad. Number three is overconsumption of spiritual content. So if you're binge watching YouTube videos, hi, hello, glad you landed on this one. If you're reading tons of books, attending different like courses or seminars or anything like that, um, or trying to heal your past lives, like right, like trying to learn how to heal your past life, then if you're consuming and consuming and consuming instead of integrating, Pacey, what is wrong, baby? What are you crying for? If you're consuming instead of like integrating, then it's going to keep you in this mental masturbation, just keep you in this intellectual level of understanding, which is not actually understanding because we want to experience life on a body level, embodiment, divine embodiment. We want to be in our body. So when you do feel some element or remnant of the witch wound coming up in you, you notice it. You look that motherfucker in the eye and you say, you're the one who should be scared of me, not the other way around. Okay. This is what happens naturally when you practice being in your fucking body and integrating into your power. I'm sure you've probably done soul retrieval and things like that. That's a form of embodiment. That's a form of reclaiming power that is really powerful. So it's not to say that you shouldn't ever consume content. You can totally consume content. Just don't be doing it obsessively because if you find yourself doing it obsessively instead of doing it out of enjoyment, then you know you are trying to avoid feeling something in your body. Okay. And the witch wound will make you try to avoid feeling shame, will make you try to avoid feeling that fear by distracting you. Same as like cleaning the toilet, right? I know nothing about that. I know absolutely nothing about that. So when you feel that coming up, when you feel that avoidance in this too, whether it's through watching videos or reading books and telling yourself, well, I still haven't figured it out, I still haven't figured it out, but you haven't spent time actually integrating and being in the practice of being in your power, then that is another reason or way that you're keeping yourself, like keeping the witch wound running your life. So, number four is perfectionism in healing. So, feeling like you need to fully fix yourself before you can do what you actually want to do. And this is not something that you need to wait to do. You have a calling, you have a purpose, you are here to do something. And I'm going to assume that it's something pretty fucking big. You're a big deal. And you do not need to wait until you're fixed. There's nothing to fix. You were never broken, ever, not one single time in your life, even though it has felt that way for sure. There's nothing to fix. It's all part of your journey. Integration helps like in that same sense. So the next one is avoiding visibility, telling yourself that you're taking time to heal, right? Or even sometimes these things can you can use the empowerment version against yourself too. I'm taking time to integrate. When your soul is telling you to move, but you can't, right? This one is there's a lot of nuance in this energetic situation because there are a lot of factors at play. Ultimately, you're the one who decides at the end of the day. If you go, no, I'm taking time to integrate because I fucking decide, that's a different story than going, oh, I'm taking time to heal because there's something that needs to be fixed before I can move forward, right? Or some external perception of something external that like you have to be someone different before you can, embark on your next journey. It's a totally different story when you go, oh, you know what? I can feel my hermit mode coming on. And I know that whenever I like feel my hermit mode coming on, I retreat to my little cave and I sit there and I bathe in that shit. And then when I emerge, I bring so many gifts with me. You know what? I am great with that. I'm gonna like go over to my little witch's hut and, be over here for a while. That's the difference between making the decision that you're going to do something, even if you feel it. Your feelings are not fact, first of all. If you feel it, it just doesn't automatically mean that like you're supposed to do that. You're like victim consciousness can make you think that too. Shame can make you think that you're supposed to do something. Discernment is big here, and so is your decision. Your decision is your power. So the number six is blaming past life or external forces. So attributing your fear of being seen to past life trauma or some kind of like patriarchal oppression or some kind of conditioning that you received as a child or even in your adult life. So these things do absolutely play a role, but if you're allowing them to stop you from doing what you're doing, that is the witch wound playing out. So if you, yeah, you just avoid actually. doing the thing because the story tells you that you should. And trying to fix that story from within the story never works. Number seven is over processing this, whether it's with coaches or healers. I don't think a lot of people, probably definitely not in my space, do this, but a lot of people do this, right? We all know people who go from tarot reader to tarot reader to tarot reader and never change anything. Go to astrologer, go to whoever, medium, coach to coach to coach, and never change anything. This is something that people actually do. And if you're doing it, what you're doing is you're staying stuck in this loop of constantly needing validation. Validate me, validate me, validate me, validate me. And getting high off of that. Especially if, oh gosh, especially if you're going to people who are also heavily dealing with a witch wound that they haven't addressed or even recognized that you can use it as a portal of power. Because a lot of healers, and this is so fucking unfortunate, and this is also one of the reasons why I've started my channel back up, is because a lot of healers are women, and women are naturally conditioned to be good girls, to be people pleasers. And a lot of women will not say the thing that needs to be said because it might cost too much. It might cost me this client. It might cost me this relationship. It's going to cost too much if I say what the fuck I know I need to say. And so, if a person is coming to this healer, could be you could have this, right? I mean, it is very, very common. And if you do, please know that you are not alone. And there is not a single thing wrong with you. This is something that women just do, okay? It's going to cost me a client. I can't say the thing. Oh, they're not going to pay me, especially if you like need to pay your bills and you're afraid to say the thing because you don't want to lose this client because you need their money. That's a problem. That's a problem that does need to be fixed, okay? You don't need to be fixed. You just need to cut that shit out. And we can work on that together. If that's something that you're doing, DM me on Instagram. Look in the description. Okay, number eight, playing small to avoid the wound. Playing small to avoid feeling it, right? You'll do this when you know you want to raise your prices, and then maybe like you raise your prices and then you retreat. Like just don't show up. Oh, I raised my prices, but nobody's buying, right? Oh, well, I wonder why. It's because I started feeling like that was too big and too scary. So I started feeling small and then I just retreat, right? Or raising your prices for maybe a couple days and then somebody not buying and you going, shit, I'm going to put them back, right? Or not raising your prices at all. And just so that we're clear, I don't think everybody should be raising their prices. I think that if you have a really solid methodology and framework that you work with and you know how to get people a specific transformation, you can charge all the money in the world. But if you're doing like, tarot readings and you're just going, "Oh, I think that this is going to help people," and you create like a program, I wouldn't say, "Hey, bitch, go charge $8,000 for that." I don't think that's a smart idea. And it's not because your work isn't worth $8,000. It is. It is. But there's a lot of little details, a lot of energetic details that go into charging high ticket prices that, it might be a better idea to start at $2,000. And that's just my take on it. When you know that you know that you know that you can get a person a certain transformation, even if it was just with through yourself, then and you know it will happen for this other person, yeah, charge your price all day long. Charge $8,000 if you want to. And I'm also not saying that like you shouldn't. You should if you want to. But if it's going to freak you the fuck out and make you retreat or if you're scared that you're not going to be able to get a person a result, it's just not the best idea to do that. There are better ways of doing things that feel really fucking good. And I'm always going to choose the way that feels really fucking good, even if it's scary. Okay. Just because it's scary doesn't also mean it doesn't feel really fucking good. So please know too that there are always layers on layers on layers to the things that I'm saying. So if there's ever something that you do not agree with, that's great. You can say so, and that might be able to spark a different conversation that takes us a layer deeper. And that's why I love when people comment on my stuff because it always brings us a layer deeper. Or maybe there's a misperception of something that's being said, and then we get to evolve that conversation, and it's always so juicy, and I love it. So if this is landing, let me know. If it's not, let me know. I want to hear about it. And I do not take it personal. Okay, so the other thing that I wrote about playing small is that, if you're shrinking your goals or shrinking your visibility or even your ambition, you're like, oh, you know what? I think I want to make six figures this year. And then you get to halfway through the year and you've only made 20 and you go, oh, the damn, there's no way I'm going to make six figures. I better make my goal 50. That's also a part of this, okay? So playing small reinforces that the belief that your power is dangerous, or you're not actually powerful and you're just going to be let down, or you're just going to be disappointed. And in return, you end up doing and saying things that make you disappointed even without trying. Okay? So these are um and this perpetuates the wound rather than confronting it and going, and no, no, I did not think so. Okay, so the truth of this that I want to talk about today is that the witch wound doesn't need to go away. It's not something that you need to heal. The shame, the fear, the anger that you feel, it's not a flaw. It's actually a gift to us now because we are safe. And so even though it's lived on with us, it's always kept us safe. And that's great. And that's something to honor like crazy, that it has kept us safe for generation after generation after generation. And now they don't know what they gave us. They don't know that they gave us a portal. And when you feel that shame, that fear, that anger, that rage, that's your power trying to get your attention. You're not broken. You're not in need of fixing. Your witch wound is your initiation into the truth of who you are. Every single story, every legendary person was shaped by their struggles, not by trying to avoid them, by using them. And it's no different for witches, especially witches in business who have something to do in the world. So nobody's saying that the witch wound isn't a weakness, okay? It can be a weakness. But what no one is saying is that it's a portal. It's actually a portal into the raw, primal enoughness, the everythingness that you've been disconnected from. And it's the reason why you feel shame about being visible or taking up space or speaking your mind. And it's also the reason why you're drawn to the kind of business that you desire. The shame is the door. The resistance is the key, but you can't walk through the door while you're busy trying to, like, what's the word? It's not scalpel. That's a doctor tool. Scaffold? Like putting plaster on the freaking door. You're trying to, like, oh, well, there's a big hole in the wall. I don't have the key. Let me just like cover over it with some spackle. And that's what we do when we're trying to heal it. Oh, I'm just gonna erase that, right? So we want to start looking at it different. Anytime you're feeling this stuff come up, do something different with it. It's a time to interrupt the old story. Instead of running to shadow work, instead of running to your self-help book, instead of running to a spell to release the witch wound, how about let's do something with it? Let's fucking feel it. Let's alchemize it. Feel that shit. Scream, cry, and then fucking go on, go off. Show the fuck up. Be in your power as you're showing up. You're scared? You're scared to speak? Say it. I cried on my first live stream. I knew I wanted to start doing lives, and I was like so freaking scared. Guess what? Turned it on. I start crying on the first live stream that I ever do. And that was a gift for me because the entire time of making videos, anytime I'm like nervous, I just say it. I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. Right? Like, just say it. There's nothing to hide. Even if you're not saying it, people can feel it anyways. Just fucking call it out. Expose that shit. Because the other way isn't working. If you're still hiding, still questioning your worth, still waiting for some magical moment whenever you feel ready, it's not because like you're wrong. It's because the wound is something that you're perceiving needs to be fixed. Instead of going, oh, I can feel my power bubbling up in me, I'm about to nail this shit. So instead of trying to heal it, lean in, lean into it. Get curious. Get curious about what that is. What if instead of the wound leaving a scar, you recognize it as an edge? Oh, look, I'm coming to the edge of what feels safe. I'm coming to the edge of what feels comfortable. What if it was like a wild card? When you stop resisting it and you start using it, playing your cards, everything changes. The fear of being seen becomes the thing that makes you magnetic. It creates a magnetic pull. The shame about taking up space becomes your reason to stand taller. And it's not about fixing anymore. It's about stepping into the raw power of being unapologetically you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about what you've been avoiding because it feels too big, feels too scary, you feel shame. That's your portal. What is it? For me, it was coming back to you too. Hello, hello, hello. This is where your power is hiding. Okay. Stop running from it. You can write it down, you can sit with it, whatever it is. Ask yourself, what would it look like for me to use this instead of fighting it? If this is resonating with you and you really want to stop spinning your wheels, I want to invite you, number one, to comment your answer. What is it? What have you been avoiding? And what are you going to do with it? What does it look like for you to really own this, to use it instead of fighting it? Comment down below. And number two, I'm going to invite you to come and join us in the Rich Witch Society, which is our monthly membership. It's only $27 a month. And inside is where we are living power. And you can ask questions in there. I am active 5 days a week, sometimes on the weekends too. You can ask questions and we do 2 live Q&As. We might do more if the group is like growing to a rate that I feel like it would be beneficial to have more. But right now we have two live Q&As. You can ask anything. It can be about business, it can be about inner work, it can be about magic, but you can ask anything and get your questions answered. And you also don't have to wait for the Q&A. Or I might actually make a video based on something that you asked, which is a normal occurrence as well. So yeah, come and join us in there. The link is going to be in the description, and let me know what your favorite point of today was. Like, what is your big takeaway from this? And I cannot wait to hear from you. Especially if you come back to this video in a couple of weeks and go, damn, you know what? I really met myself. I really decided to go all in on myself. And here's what happened. Tell me, bitch. Tell me, I want to know. Okay. So that's going to do it for our video today. Remember, stop trying to fix yourself. You are not broken. You were never broken. Your witch wound is not a weakness, it is your birthright. It might have held us back, it held women back for centuries. Now it's your time to play with it, to use it because the world needs you, which is at your full power, not like some half-assed potential that could have been. No more of that. We are not playing that game. Okay. I hope that you enjoyed this with your whole heart, and I will see you on the next video.